It is such a pleasure to see you, Del Mitchell. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm really well. It's funny because it's only really been a week since we've been shut in, and I've been so busy finishing last week, which was normal, and getting ready for this week to record online and all these kind of things, as well as social media. I haven't noticed much the change yet. How's it been for you being at home? I know you give online services as well, but obviously more so now than ever, I imagine.
Yeah, well, yes, and it's interesting, isn't it? Because Emmy has been, she's the techno one, building this steadily for quite some time. And fortuitously, it would seem, not preparing for a shutdown like we have now, but just that it means that people who do live a long way away can get some help and advice. And it's much nicer to see a face, isn't it? Than it, and also, just saying to Sam, is that in the good old days on the telephone, when somebody would ring up and say, "Would you have a look at my knee?" And I would say, "Well, would you hold it up to the telephone so we have a look?" And of course, you can actually do that now. You can hold your knee up and I can have a look, or I can see how twisted your back is, or how off center your neck is. So it's how funny.
And often people have worries that instead of going searching online and getting who knows what feedback, to be able to contact with a professional who can give guidance, particularly when you can't get out to the doctor, must be very, very important.
Well, I think this is going to be, I mean, it's not a new concept in all reality. It's something that I've been watching for a long time, because they started doing this in Australia, and many, many years ago, because of course people are, long, long way from any sort of center of never mind shopping, but of medical help. So with the exception of, obviously, you can prescribe drugs and speak to somebody and send somebody a note, but and physiotherapy services in the NHS have started using this sort of service to monitor people at home, help them with their exercises if they've had a hip replacement, for instance. One of my patients was telling me that his mum had a regular, kind of every 48 hours, little call and a video, so that you can check that all's going well and they don't look too pale, or they are doing their exercises as nearly ideally as they can do given the circumstances. So yeah,
it is wonderful, and I love that your daughter had the foresight to prepare all of this, not because, as you say, knowing anything was coming, but just that is the way the world is going. We are more and more connected online, and one of the best advantages, as you're saying, is to be able to connect with patients at home, keep a check on them, see how they're doing, which is more reason, I suppose, to educate our elderly on how to connect to.
Well, that's one of the things that is difficult, and luckily I have Emmy, because I'm a little bit shy of some of the technology stuff. Pretty good at the physio stuff, but the technology that relates to physio, I'm quite good at. But we've used it in earnest already this week. I've had 3 calls and reassured and talked to people through things, and then had nice feedback to say thank you very much. They were feeling much better, less worried. Because if you're on your own, and it doesn't matter what age you are, it's a long way from home.
Yes, it's nice to touch base with the ones that you love. At the moment, you have that pleasure. You're with your daughter and your granddaughter and your son-in-law. How are you finding the shutdown, particularly the little one?
Well, I think it's probably the most. She had a long chat, though, because she's that little bit older now, to a friend of hers on the telephone yesterday, which I thought was super cool. We didn't have those opportunities when we were sort of 7, 8. We are lucky because we have some outside space that is private outside space, which means that we can jump about in the garden and do various things. So we've been doing an every morning. This interrupts it and puts it back a little bit. But we do a little exercise routine, the 3 of us, so that we keep active, keep moving, and keep challenging ourselves. yes, we've all got our little tasks, and there's endless stuff to read. It gives me a chance to sit down and read some of the stuff which I don't normally have. So that's a bonus.
Someone like yourself who is always so very, very busy and very little time at home, it must be quite wonderful to have 3 generations together, now having time to do exercises together. A very bonding experience.
Yes, and great opportunity to spend time with Senna, and she challenges me, and as well, because of course some of her technology skills, because she lives in a techno household, or both her parents are in that, have got those skills. So yeah, she can help me out.
Do you have any advice or recommendations for our viewers during this obviously very challenging time, let's say, to our social liberties and learning to just be at home and live with ourselves?
Yes, I think those are different challenges, aren't they? And we're used to getting up and going out to the shops, or popping along the road to meet somebody for a coffee, or those sort of things. I think particularly if you do live alone, don't be shy. I think get in touch with somebody, even if it's somebody that you're not particularly friendly with, just to touch base with. And of course, if something hurts and you're lonely and isolated and a bit worried, then it hurts 3 or 4 times more. Oops, I've just lost any back. Then it's more acute, and you will feel it more than you might do otherwise, when you think you could make a phone call and get somebody to drop you down to the clinic. So that's where we're hoping that people will not be too timid about sending us a message to say, is it possible for us to have a chat and sort something out? Because as I say, I've done a couple of them now. A chap who I have seen for some knee problems, he just wanted a bit of reassurance that he was doing the right thing, because it was still a bit uncomfortable, and another chap with his back. So when you can't get about your own apartment very well, and nor can you get out, it's double scary, isn't it?
Well, thank you so much for your time. I mean, I know you've got many places to be, she says.
It's you that has so many places, Nicole. You're a busy bee.
To be able to, now I'm obviously still busy, but being at home, it is different. And obviously this is a new experience, connecting online like we're doing now. So yes, it's really nice to see you. And even though I'm home alone, and obviously we all need to stay home and only go out for shopping, and go shopping for enough times, you're not going out every 5 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. But we are still available. We are on. You can send us an email. You can send us a WhatsApp. You can be in touch in a number of ways. So if you are worried or concerned, or even maybe just a little bit lonely, and your knee hurts, do get in touch, because we can help to show you some things that you can do and make yourself feel a bit better.
Thank you so much for reaching out to everyone with that particularly personal touch, and it's lovely to see you. Kisses for everybody. Great. And we'll be in touch soon.
Thanks, Nicole. Nice to see you too. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, hey.
A lot of people prefer to take their own car when going out at night. However, when it comes to time to go home, that might not be the safest or wisest option. For some, just one glass of wine could put you over the legal limit, which means if you drive, you could put yourself or others at risk. If you find yourself in this dilemma and think possibly you should not be driving, you can just give Linear Director a call. They will order and pay for a taxi, which will take you and your fellow companions who were with you in the car home with up to a 25-kilometer radius, as long as you all fit in that one taxi and you're all going to the same place. You can even ask for them to pick up your car and take that back too. And this is 7 days a week from midnight to 7 a.m. and up to 4 times a month. And this is obviously all in addition to the fabulous insurance that you get with Linear Director.
Every evening at 8 p.m., I'm going out to my balcony, as is most of Spain, to clap and make as much noise as possible to show our gratitude for all the medical staff who are literally risking their lives to save ours. And it's not just the medical staff, of course, everyone who's out there, the police, the truck drivers, we're all in this together. So please join us at 8 p.m. every single evening at an open window, on your terrace, in your private garden, wherever you're allowed to be, but outside, and make as much noise as possible. I think you'll quite enjoy that. If you're the only one clapping, very soon others will follow suit. Let's pray that this will be over soon. Stay safe, stay home.
Tearing us apart. Poison arrows shoot straight to your heart. We can change if we try.
It's a pleasure to welcome Lily Van Tongeren, volunteer with AAA Marbella, back to the program. Lily, it's lovely to have you in my home. How are you?
Thank you, Nicole, for having me, and I'm doing fine, in the circumstances. I'm at home with the animals and with Tom, of course, and we're doing okay. Nice to see you. It's a bit strange, long distance, but good to see you.
I know that you've been going to the rescue centre. You have a special pass. Obviously, even with quarantine and shutdown, there are so many animals at AAA, and I understand it, more arriving.
Yes, of course, we have all the animals that were already there, like more than 500 cats and dogs. And every day dogs are arriving. Since we were forced to close because of the coronavirus, we get in at least one dog a day, average, sometimes more in one day. Sorry. And the thing is, of course, that more dogs will be coming in. As long as we're closed, we're not allowed to have any adoptions. So nothing is going out, which means more mouths to feed every day. We're working with a minimum workforce. Everybody that works there is working. We have no illnesses at the moment, luckily, and we hope to keep it that way. We have minimum volunteers coming in because, of course, the work has to go on. I mean, everything goes on as normal. The caring for the animals goes on with minimum people, and the ones that are there are under a lot of stress, not only physically but also mentally, because the dogs are, of course, noticing the change. Most of them are very sensitive. They notice the change. They notice that something is different, and they're quite restless. We have, of course, no money coming in, only money going out, because the costs are going to be the same and more. So we are trying, we have no events, we have no money coming in other than the memberships. That is the regular payments. So we're asking everybody to also think about the animals at this time, and if at all possible, to make a donation to AAA or buy food that is necessary for the pups, the kittens, the full-time dogs, or the full-grown dogs and the full-grown cats as well.
Quite a challenge on, as you say, a daily basis, but with the current situation, even harder. For example, on Saturdays, I know you have a special pass as a volunteer to go to the centre, but all those volunteers who walk the dogs at the weekend, what's the situation with that?
Well, it's only with the people who are allowed. So the minimum volunteers that we have at the moment, they can walk the dogs. But the big Saturday dog walk, of course, had to be cancelled. So there is no volunteers to walk the dogs, so that they will have to do with little less time outside. I mean, the ones that are there, the volunteers that are there, are trying to walk them also during the week now, a little bit, but it's very stressful for the volunteers as well as for the dogs, not to have their wonderful Saturday walks with all the volunteers who always come.
I heard that some of the animals were being abandoned because people were scared that they were going to pick up the coronavirus and bring it back, and therefore were dumping the animals. Is there any veracity to this?
Well, we haven't noticed yet that there is a larger increase. Of course, the dogs that are found on the street that Sanidad is bringing to AAA, we do not know if people abandon them because of the coronavirus, but it's a total misunderstanding that animals are capable of spreading the disease. They are not infectious and they're not able to pass on the disease to humans at all.
And if you're worried,
So
it's like,
it's
could
not
you
good.
bring them home from their walks? It's funny because there's a lot of posts on Facebook with these poor dogs hiding behind doors so they wouldn't have to go out for another walk, because that's one of the reasons. But take advantage of the moment to say you can take your dog out to poop and pee, but right by your home. You're not allowed to go for a walk as such. So they will possibly ask you where you live, and you need to be, I believe, like within 50 meters of your home at the moment. Lily, how
Yeah.
is Tom coping with the quarantine?
He's coping quite well. Luckily, we have very privileged to live in a small house with a big garden, specifically for the dogs. The dogs can go anywhere they want in the garden, of course. And Tom is scared. You know, he is 77 years old. He has a heart condition. He has a pacemaker, etc., etc. And we were in Holland just at the start of this coronavirus to see the cardiologist. He had good news; things were going fine. But as soon as we came back with a flight earlier, luckier in time, he has been inside. He's not going outside the gate. He hasn't been outside because, of course, he's in a dangerous group, and he is scared to get the disease if we're not careful. Luckily, he can keep busy in the garden, take a rest, work on his computer with his photographs. So in that way, he is doing okay. He's not bored or anything, but just a bit scared.
Obviously, it is a worrying time. And I know that you also have your beloved Gerarda's sister in CK La Quinta. And I saw a very heartwarming, heartbreaking photograph of you on Facebook kissing her through the windows. Tell us a little bit how you're living that situation, Lily.
Well, of course, it's very sad that we cannot meet all the people that we love, either in general life, but specifically the older ones who are in a care home, and my sister is there. I can go and bring her the things that she needs, but as you've seen on the picture, I cannot touch her, I cannot give her a hug, I cannot kiss her except on the window. When I bring things, to be very careful, I put them outside the door, I'll take a step back and the nurses will come and take the things, bring them in and keep them locked away for 24 hours before they pass them on to my sister or to the patients that are there. The care home, of course, here is extremely careful. They're taking all the precautions that are necessary. They have on every floor now a dining room, so not all the patients are coming down in the one dining room. They are only allowing 2 people at a table so that they have the appropriate distance. They're required to stay in their room as much as possible. The ones that are ill and need hospital care or for a little while will be picked up by ambulance, brought to the hospital, treated and brought back. And when they come back from the hospital, they are put in their own room and will have to stay like in quarantine for about 14 days before they again can go into the home itself in the public area. So they are taking all the precautions, and yes, it does mean that we cannot see them, we cannot touch them.
Hopefully that'll keep them safe, and that would seem to be the case at the moment, that at least they can move around their care home and enjoy all the facilities just with that little bit of extra care. Similarly to, again, back to AAA, before we finish, Lily, to summarize what you most need now, as obviously none of those charity fundraising events are going on. More than ever, you're relying on, I suppose, membership, which is something easy to do, donations, and also supplies, right? You need so many things. What kind of supplies? Food, office, cleaning?
Yes, at the moment, I put a call out on my Facebook site. What if people would like to buy something? We need Royal Canin puppy food, the bags with biscuits, big or small, anything is welcome. Royal Canin kitten and cat food. The reason why we're asking for specifically Royal Canin is because that's what we're using most of the time, or preferably always, because if people bring all kinds of different kinds of foods, the dogs will go and have diarrhea and they get an upset stomach. So we stay with the one kind of food. And what we also need is from the Mercadona, the cans of pâté, dog pâté, not the trusses with the sauce, but the pâté or the sausages that they have, the dog sausages, because we use that to take the medication into the dogs because they won't take the pills. So we use the pâté, put the medication in there, and then give it to the dogs and the cats. So that's also very, very welcome. We need a lot of that as well. Big or small, everything is welcome. And if people have things at their home, please contact me. I can come and pick it up. As you said, I have a special permit to be around as a volunteer. I can come to pick it up with the van from AAA or with my own car, depending where it is. And I'm willing to drive anywhere to pick up supplies if people want to buy them. And small bags or big bags or 1 can or 2 cans, everything is welcome. Next to that, there is on the site also a donation button. If it's easier, of course, to make donations so we can have the money to buy big supplies. The website for AAA, of course, you can donate throughout the website. And yes, any special donations at this moment is extremely welcome because all costs go on and no extra money is coming in. We have no events, we have no nothing. People that usually come and visit the AAA and would leave donations are not allowed in. We don't have that. So please, if you have extra money because you're not going out for dinner and not going out for drinks. I know everybody's going through a difficult time, but any little donation extra this month or the coming time at least is extremely welcome.
Thank you so much, Lily. It's been an absolute joy to see you again. It's lovely to be here at home and have a nice little chat. Take care. Thank you so much for everything you do for the animals and for AAA and obviously therefore for our community. And perhaps we can have a catch up again next week.
Yes, I hope so. I hope to be able to give you good news about all the donations and the food that's coming in. And thank you, Nicole, for the program, because I think it's extremely important right now. I'm sure lots and lots of people sitting home and needing information that you are spreading with your English-speaking community, because a lot of the English, of course, including myself, cannot follow always the Spanish news. And I'm very, very grateful for you to allow people to get the news through you, and that I can do my message and talk about the animals.
Hashtag better together.
Better together.
Here I am with my virtual family.
Yes. Very nice.
Lovely to see you, Lily. Really nice
Good to see you, Nicole, and we'll be in touch. Thank you so much, everybody, and please do not forget the animals in this difficult time.
We won't.
Okay. Bye.
Change if we try.